Alright, so you're out racing on the track with your dirt bike, but then you hear a sudden clunk or your motor just dies on you and it won't start back up. So you're kind of stranded on the side of the track and you don't know what to do. But today I'm actually going to teach you how you can fix that problem or where the problems can occur. And so today we're going to be talking about what you'll need to rebuild a 4-stroke dirt bike, tearing down the motor and what's in the motor of a 4-stroke, and then getting your motor all back together and running. So obviously what you'll need first is a dirt bike rebuild kit, which you can get the bottom end, which would be this little crank and rod, and then that comes with bearings and all the other goodies. And then you'll mainly need the piston. That's mainly what goes wrong, is usually your piston just gets a score in it and then loses all compression. Obviously the bike's not going to run. Then you'll need bearings and your piston rings and all your other gasket goodies. And then also to actually do the rebuild itself, you'll need just a simple toolkit. It'll come with some Allen keys, sockets, and screwdrivers, and then you should be set for the rebuild. And so first, before you ever start tearing it down and getting into it, you kind of have to know what's in it and what you'll be looking at. And so first off, so there's the valves. So the valves are actually this part of the motor, and they just go up and down. The camshafts should be sitting right there where those two little black gaskets are. The timing chain, which goes around the two camshafts down to your bottom end on that little sprocket here. And then the piston, which would be in your cylinder right under the valves. And then so actually pulling the motor apart, you'll want to start by taking off your seat, gas tank, and your exhaust. This is a 2-stroke, but so the exhaust would still be in the same spot. Gas tank and seat, which are all just sockets, probably like an 8 to 10 millimeter to 12. And then this allows access to take off the valve cover, which then you get access to your camshafts, timing chain, and valves. So you'll start with removing the cams after the valve cover's off, and then that'll access your timing chain to become loose. Then you'll remove the cam chain off of the cams. You'll take off the head, where the valves are in, and right above the piston. Then you can take off the cylinder and inspect the cylinder to see if there's any scores or scratches in that. And then you'll lastly be able to pull off the piston, and then you can also inspect that and replace. And so putting it back together, you'll probably want to get your valves redone, which is shown in here, all nice and pretty instead of black carbon all built up on it. And you'll want to make sure that all the valve seats correctly, there's no damage or metal shavings in there. So that's why you'll get them cleaned out. And you'll want to inspect the top of the valves, make sure there's no scores in where the cam rockers, like the little slots for the cam sit. And you'll also want to check out the cylinder, like I stated before, and piston, because those are the two that mainly cause no compression and would cause your bike not to run. And so you'll inspect all the parts, like I said. And then basically after you get them all set and checked out, then you can replace which ones are bad, and you just start bolting it back together the same way you pieced it or took it apart. And so you'll replace the cause of the blown motor, usually the piston. And then after you get the piston on, you put in the 2 snap rings, the cylinder over that with the valves and the cams, and the chain would go back on the cams. And then that's when you have to retime the bike, which is actually simple. It's just 2 dots on the cam sprockets that line up with your head, and then you just put the chain over that. As long as your bike is at top dead center, which means the piston's at the top of the cylinder, touching the valves pretty much. Replace all other parts, such as the gas tank and exhaust and the plastics. That's the only things you really need to take off. You don't have to take off any other things like pulling out the motor or anything. You can do it all while it's in the frame of the bike. And then you're ready to be back to the track to finish off your race with all your buddies. And to recap, we talked about what you'll need, tearing down your motor, what's inside of it, and putting it all back to normal and getting it running so you can finish your race. And then, yeah.